What's going on, guys? You're here for Draw It Spud. I'm Spud Reed. In this video, I'm going to show you the basics on animation and how to animate or just draw on the Procreate app. Shout out to Nicholas McCraw who gave me the idea to use this app. It's a really good app, only $10. So let's jump straight into how to use Procreate and how to create your own animations through this wonderful app. I'm going to show my animation process at the end of the video and show the animations that I did with the tactics I'm going to show you in this video. Stick around to the end so you can see my animations, and also while you're at it, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss anything. Okay, now we're starting the tutorial. Okay, so we're in the gallery. So from the gallery, you want to go up to this plus button and create a new canvas. I'm just going to use the default, and it creates a new blank page. Now this app has many different abilities you can use, and I'm not going to cover all of them in this video, so I would advise checking out another video for all the tips, but I'm going to give you the basic ones you need to know to operate the app. So first up, you have these things in the top corner, and they will be your drawing utensil. You can pick from sketching to ink, so a pen. You can do markers, different types of methods for making lines. And then you have the smudge tool, which just smears things around. It's good for blending. You have the eraser tool, different types of lines for erasing. You have the layers tool, but right now I'm just going to talk about the brush tool. So I would recommend using the Studio Pen. It's a good line and good for all-around sketching. And using the pen, you can create different types of line widths by applying different amounts of pressure. Also over here, you can control how big you want the line to be, starting off. And over here, it's the opacity, so it might be less. So it'd be harder to see, more transparent, and then you get darker ones. Well, now you have all these lines on your page. What do you do now? So to undo, you can click this button, or if you double tap with your finger, it'll start to erase things. Sorry, not double tap. If you use two fingers and you tap, it'll erase things. So if I just make a bunch of different lines on the board, and I tap, it'll start to erase things. And if I hold down with two fingers, it'll erase it all, one by one. Now, if you do it three fingers, it brings it all back. So if I erase some stuff, I can bring back with three fingers. And obviously if you hold down three fingers, it'll bring it all back. You can also zoom in and zoom out. And if you want to fill up the whole screen, you pinch, and there you go. Now, say you make a shape, and you want to fill the shape with color, but you don't want to go in like this. What you can do is grab this, grab the color area, and bring it down here and drop it, and it will fill it. Now, since I'm using not full opacity, you can see other types of values of the same color. Whereas if I use only one opacity, it's all one color. All one value, I mean. Another thing I forgot to mention is if you have a bunch of different lines on your page, instead of holding down with all three fingers, instead of holding down with two fingers to erase everything at once, you can put three fingers and go like this, and it'll just clear the whole page. So I'm just gonna make some random marks on the page and show you again. So two fingers is to get rid of, three fingers is to get back, and then three fingers like this is to clear. So that's for the different mark makings. You can also create lines, and if you don't want it to be the way you want it, you hold your line. Instead of placing it, it will create a flat line. Same with shapes. So you can hold it and it'll create a circle, You can also do this with squares, triangles, and also any shape you want. Now, you can also, in the brush library, customize, obviously, the different types of lines you can make. It's more of a scratchy type of feel. And the eraser also has this aspect. You can choose different types. So if I'm erasing, so I have my eraser highlighted, you can erase. But the eraser is the same thing as the brush, whereas if you pick a different type of method to erase, it'll erase. So this one's doing the scratchy type of erase. Now, a feature is if you're on the brush and you like having it be Studio Pen and you want to erase with Studio Pen, if you're on the brush and you hold down this, it will sync whatever brush you have to your eraser. So now instead of the scratchy, I have the Studio Pen erasing. So for color, you can come up to this circle, click on it, and it shows a wide range of colors you can use. So you can use purples, reds, any color you want. And you can also mix it. If you go to white, it might not be the exact white you want. So if you double click, it'll be the default white. So you can't see it. It looks like the eraser, but it's actually just the plain color white. If you go to this button, which shows layers, you can click on the background color one and change the background color to whichever color you like. You can also customize it here as well and make it darker, lighter, however you want. And you can double tap, obviously, for white. Now, this layers tool is going to be a big help for the animation process on Procreate. But before I show you this, I'm going to show you one quick feature, which is the smudge tool. So this tool allows you to smudge. So let me make some marks. The paintbrush. It allows you to smudge and smear as if you're blending. And obviously you can choose different types of brushes. So, oh wow, that's really big. You know, it smudges the different colors around. And it's good for blending, good for making, you know, cloudy skies or a cool, smooth gradient-ish background. Okay, now let's move on to the layer section. So, for the layer section, you can create separate layers, and what these do is, I'll give you an example. So if I make an apple, I go to the red, I don't have it down here, I want to have it red, and then I pick red. And then with the brush tool, I need to do ink, Studio Pen. That's what I prefer. I'll go back, and I'll make an apple-ish shape. Okay, I drag the color, it's full. What you can do is go to the layers area, create another layer by pressing the plus button, and on this separate layer you can color in, how we change the color to orange, and we make it a different type of texture, lower the opacity so it's not as bright, and you can add another color on top of the apple you made. And if you don't like it, you can just delete it. But it won't be part of the apple. So if you're like, oh, I really don't like this color, but I want some of it there and some of it not there, if you go to erase it, if it's on the same layer, it'll erase the apple. Erase what you first drew. But if you have it on a separate layer, it will only erase what's on that layer. Another function that's really helpful is alpha lock. So if you click on your layer and you turn alpha lock on, if you stay on the layer, click to exit off. If you go to add, let's say, another type of color, I can color anywhere on the screen, but it will only mark on where I've colored. So if I pick a dark color so you can really see it, I go down here to black. If I move my pen across the screen, it will only show up where I've colored before. And this is because alpha lock locks everything that you've colored. And so once you color again, it only allows you to color in that area. so I can't color here. So I can make whatever color cool designs I want, then turn alpha lock off, and boom, this is all one thing. Now I can color on the outside. You can also go back up to the layers section and say I don't want this. I can swipe to the left and I can delete it. You can also say I make a really epic smiley face. You can go back to the layers section and duplicate it. That way, you can color on it, make whatever you want. Then you can make another layer where you add another feature that you only want to be on one layer. Oh, I want that to be red. And boom, there we go. Now something you're going to want to turn on for animation is up here in the Actions toolbar. You go to Canvas and Animation Assist, and this shows your layers down here. So if you click on them, you can click back and forth and find what you drew. So if you go to Settings, this will help you show all your layers again. You don't need to worry about frames per second. But on onion skin frames, this is how many frames you'll see. So now I see my first frame. If I click on this, I see my second frame. We have one skin frame. Or if I want to add a bunch of frames and just draw random things on it, you can see multiple frames by adding more frames to the onion skin frames rate. So now I can see 1 extra frame, 2 extra frames, 3 extra frames, 4 extra frames, and on. This shows you how much you can see it. So if you have it really high, it all looks like one thing. So I like to have it around maybe 30, so I can see what my past frames looked like, but it still prioritizes the one main frame. And you can go in between frames by clicking here, or by going up to the frames layer. I forgot to mention, you can also turn alpha lock on by double tapping. Oh, it should work. Okay, I guess you have to just touch it and click alpha lock. Another thing you can do is once you have one layer selected, you can select multiple layers by swiping right, and it'll show them as a fainter blue. That means you have all of them. So I can delete and delete all the layers at once. Another thing I forgot to mention is in the Actions toolbar, you can go to Share, or no, you can go to Video, and if you click on Time-Lapse Replay, it'll show you what you've done leading up to the drawing that you've made. So as you can see here, this is all I've made. Last little thing I want to mention before I start showing you how to animate is you can edit where things are on the page by clicking this button, and you can make them bigger, you can make them smaller, you can spin them around, do a 360, you can flip them vertically, and there's multiple things down here. I like to distort them. You could do, anything you want. And that's all on this function. And you can just click off of it when you're done. So let me clear this frame and start animating. So now when you start animating, what you want to do is so first I'm going to create a background color. Let's choose blue. How about, that's good. Okay. Now I want to choose the ink and go to Studio Pen, because that's my preferable choice of mark making. So I'm just going to animate a ball hopping across the screen. So on my first layer, I'm going to circle. I can hold it. So that's more. Oh yeah, you can also zoom in and out to make it bigger or smaller. So I'm going to have it like this. Drag the red. Oops, drag the red. it fills that. If you drag to something that's not enclosed, it'll just fill the whole thing. So I'll redo, and then this is all I want for my frame. It's really basic. So I go to create another layer, layer 2. Now since I have my onion skin frames rate opacity low, I can still see it, but it's not my main frame. So I know that because the opacity is low. So now I'm going to create another ball with the pen. I'm going to go whoop, and then I'll drag the color. I'll hit another frame, and we'll keep doing this to multiple frames at a time. And this is basically how you start animating. As you can see, my frames are starting to disappear in the back, and that is because I set how many frames there are to 5. And if I made it max, you can see all of them. But I'm going to set it to 4 because I only need these 4. I don't need all of them. Oop, I meant to put them on a separate frame. So you go new frame. And this is just really basic, you know, creating a ball that moves across the screen. Now, let's say this is all my frames. What you can do is slide through to see if that's how you want it. If it's not, you can slide to the frame you don't want it to be, you want to make a change on. And then obviously, you know, erase. And it won't erase any of your other frames, only things on that frame. You can fix it. And then when you're ready, you can press play. It'll give you an animation of what your animation shows. So this shows the ball moving across the screen. I'm going to pause it. You can also go to settings and change the frame rate so you can make it 48 and it'll go super fast. Or you can make it, oops, that's the wrong one. Make it, I don't know, 10 frames per second. I probably have 10 frames total. I can check here. I have 11 layers. And then you can press play again, and it'll slow it down. If I want to change it, you can also press play and look while you're doing this. So you can go fast, through 2 frames per second. That'll go pretty slow. And so you can modify how fast you want it to go right here. So that's the basic way to make an animation. You could also, I'm gonna delete all these, so you hold down, or you select one, and then you go to the right to delete all of these. Actually, I'm not gonna delete this one. So you can delete all those layers, and I have 1. Now let's say I click on it, I turn alpha lock on, then I go down to a darker color, and I go like this. Give the ball some texture or some shades. Okay. Then I can create another layer, make another ball, and repeat the same process by turning alpha lock on, making a darker shade, and it will only go where the first color was, or until you turned alpha lock on. So now I have a ball of different colors. So that's how you make a multi-shade animation. When you're done, hit the gallery button. It takes you to all of your works. One cool thing you can do is once you're in a canvas, you can go up here and you can go to share, so you can export it as a GIF or as a PDF, JPEG, whatever you want. But if you go to canvas, you can, or no, it's add, sorry. If you go to add, you can insert a photo. And so you can insert a photo right into the app and start coloring on it, which I think is really cool. Another thing I meant to say is if you make a cool ball and you're like, oh, it's so cool, I want to put it on a second layer, you can hit this button, which will select, oh, sorry, I'm on the wrong layer. go layer 1. Oh, I did not mean to draw on the layer. I have a blank layer. I go on the first layer, which is what I've drawn on. Click this button, and it'll show what I've drawn. You can go here, you can go copy. So then when you go to the second layer, you can do paste, and you have this on your second layer. And so, if you were to move this, click on this button, move here, and then obviously you want to turn Animation Assist on, so you can get these layers. You can move the same object, which is probably easier than having me draw the red ball over and over again. So that's something I forgot to mention, but it's a really handy thing. So I just showed you the basics on how to use Procreate and Animate on Procreate. I would definitely recommend, if you want to do more of this, look at other people's videos. There's tons of different features I didn't mention in this video, but I showed you the basics on how to make an animation and how to draw. Showed you these features, some of these. Now I'm going to do my own animations, and I'm going to show you the final video and the exported video, time-lapse video of the replay of me making the whole process for the animation. So, sit back, relax, and watch my animation process unfold.